I was born and raised outside the U.S. I was born in France. I grew up in Switzerland and Thailand. My Both my parents were career diplomats. My dad was a spy during World War II and then became a diplomat. He worked. He was MacArthur's economist for 8 years during the occupation. So had neat stories about that. And my mom was Harry Truman's secretary for 5 years. And so kind of that was the milieu I grew up in, I guess. After Thailand, I moved to the U.S. Moved to McLean, Virginia. Went to college, graduate school, got into Wall Street. And then I got a call from a friend of mine in graduate school who was working with the U.S. government to design and build the first clearing system in Russia. And that sounded like a great thing. That no one wanted to go to Russia then. But I did. Designed and built it. Learned about a lot about Russia. Met my wife. Then I was at Morgan Stanley for 14 years. So I loved countries and looking at economic development, but I also wanted to make a living. And so I worked at Morgan Stanley for 14 years, 10 years in research. So I started EMEA, Economics and Bond Strategy. The generous way of describing me is I was the world's leading Russian economist. The accurate way of describing me is I was the world's only Russian economist, or there was a handful of us. But yeah, I started covering Russia, then Bulgaria, Poland, then South Africa, Turkey. And what was interesting is when I covered Turkey, I learned more about Russia. When I covered South Africa, I learned more about Turkey. So you really learn, the more countries you learn about, the more you learn about, every country adds to your knowledge of the other countries. Um, and then I moved to VanEck right after the financial crisis. So VanEck was committed to emerging markets and emerging markets bonds, and they wanted us to start a variety of strategies, and we have, and been doing that. But what I like most about my job is that I'm able to do, economic and some political analysis, and make a living at it.